Oh man, content nuke Ethan Klein. Oh my god. There's no way that I'm reacting, at least now, to all 2 hours of Ethan Klein's shit show. Because I think I honestly expected too much from him. I thought like he would at least try to like adapt his arguments, change them a little bit. And then from what I saw of it, it's just him ignoring the fact that like 20 different people have already refuted everything that he had said before. To just restate it all confidently. Like Ethan settled on his arguments and he doesn't care that they have been thoroughly refuted, fact-checked and debunked by me and other people. He's got them, he's just going to repeat them, and he can do so knowing that, you know, the new far-right audience that he's cultivating isn't going to give a shit that they're factually incorrect. Because all they care about is that he's owning Hasan Piker or whatever. It's honestly surprising that Ethan Klein, being a Zionist, would release a content nuke against an adult rather than a baby. If I manage to find a day in the next week or two where I have 5 to 6 hours to sit down and just go over this shit, I'll just like react to it and refute every single thing that he says aside from the stuff that I don't care about, like his interpersonal drama with Hasan. Like every single second of it so that they can't say, oh, you skipped over this part or whatever. Because there's so much of it that is just plain wrong. It's just incorrect. And Ethan Klein, like, he's not mentally capable, he's not intellectually capable of research, of critical thought. So what he does is he makes a statement backed up by basically nothing and moves on as if it's proven. He doesn't understand critical analysis. He doesn't even try to prove his claims. When he does try, it's not very impressive, let me tell you. So here I'm going to go over a couple of like really egregious things that I saw regarding just a very limited section of this video, just very, very quickly to give you an idea of what the destruction of him is going to be like. In the first 5 minutes or so of the video, Ethan Klein implies that like he was duped by Hasan Piker into making a podcast with him. He thought that Hasan Piker was not an evil radical, and his evidence of him being an evil radical is that he hates liberals, and like Hasan, like you didn't know what Hasan Piker believed. Someone who streams like 70% of his life apart from sleeping is live streamed. There wasn't adequate information out there for you to know his beliefs. You, as a poor little baby, a 40-year-old man, were misled by a guy who most of his life is just out there on the internet for free perusal for you to watch. You were misled by him. You poor little baby boy. You had no idea what he really was. Anyway, and that's the extent of my defense of Hasan Piker. So there is a point in here where Ethan Klein goes over like Hasan Piker's disturbing views. And at no point does he actually try to refute what Hasan is saying. So watch.
Disturbing enough. I started to notice that Hasan was carrying a lot of water for communist states' war crimes and genocides.
What do you call Crimea? I call it a part of Russian territory, bitch. That's what I call Crimea. I call it Crimea River.
That's a joke.
A Russian river. The annexation of Crimea is absolutely a justifiable annexation. Tibet was literally a fucking feudal slave mandate, autonomous zone.
China did them a favor.
That was one, I mean, in America, when I say something like this, people
was Tibet not like a slave state? Wasn't it?
Get very upset.
This is like the Willie Mack show thing. You just play a clip and you don't actually try to refute it. You just play it and then you move on as if it's like self-evidently wrong.
You know, we talk about the Dalai Lama saying "suck my tongue" or whatever, but like that's not far from the norm in fucking normal Tibetan existence before the Communist Party came in and
so China unilaterally took over Tibet.
Was it unilateral? Do you think they did not have support from anyone in the population?
Like
these are their culture. They basically are trying to, homogenize the culture.
If your culture,
they're trying to spoil the religion. And
so for Ethan Klein, like it's genocide to abolish slavery because apparently it's like a part of their culture. He's just going to present him saying this with no clarification.
Identity.
The part of feudal warlords and slavery, abolishing that, yes, I do think that is good.
No, China did them a favor.
This is a good way to...
Like he's just a child throwing a tantrum here. He's like, so China did them a favor? So you said that slavery is bad, so China did them a favor. Is that what you're saying? That's what you're saying?
Describe Taiwan as well. The American federal government going into the fucking South and killing, unfortunately not all of them, but a decent amount of slavers and defenders of slavery. This is violent retribution from a powerful federal government that that squashed, okay?
Tibet is the South in the Civil War?
Yes.
And most disturbingly, a complete whitewashing of the Chinese genocide.
So he didn't actually refute what was being said there. Does he genuinely believe that his like childish responses here were sufficient on their own
Against their Muslim
So now he's on to the Chinese genocide
minority group, the Uyghurs.
against their Muslim minority group, the Uyghurs. I can't wait to see his justification.
Don't they have Uyghur death camps? Is that
Uyghur death camps? Oh, he just says there's Uyghur death camps. Like, that's insane. That's insane. No one thinks that. But Ethan Klein thinks it, and he seems to think this is such a fantastic talking point that, like, I guess Hasan saying there's no Uyghur death camps is like supposed to be damning.
It's not a death camp. They were re-education camps, and they are no longer in operation.
Is that
according
true?
to the Associated Press?
Okay. I saw this
But, yeah,
crazy documentary, and I don't know. I don't know the surrounding narrative or anything about it. But it was about there was doctors in the area. They would be able to procure organs.
No, that's
Ethan Klein just watches like fucking Falun Gong documentaries and believes them uncritically. I saw a video and it said that they kill them in the death camps and they steal their organs. Do you deny that? And Hasan's like laughing at him, like trying to be nice, like, no, that's not true, Ethan. And he presents this as if it paints him in a favorable light, which, to be fair, with the audience of fucking morons like himself that he's trying to appeal to, perhaps it does.
no.
I'm telling you, they were in China with.
Dog, that one is like Shen Yun,
They're like, we
Falun
could
Gong.
get you an organ from a Uyghur. But why is that? Is that really that crazy?
The Associated Press quietly fucking wrote an article that didn't get a lot of coverage in mainstream media about how, like, okay, well, all the concentration camps have been closed now. Like, all the re-education camps are closed now in fucking Xinjiang, and it's like very different vibes in Xinjiang. And now, it's the tourism hour.
Let's see what the Associated Press actually had to say about this. These are all AP articles from the last 2 years. UK independent body reports China committed genocide in Xinjiang.
Okay, let's look at this article. UK independent body. What is the UK independent body? It's a fake court made by a US-backed supposed Uyghur advocacy group that they made their own court, and then the court that they made decided there is genocide. That's what this article is about. This is not the AP's opinion or an original piece of AP journalism. It's just them reporting on what other people said. In this case, a made-up fake court. And Ethan Klein's like, look at this, guys. You see? They made a court specifically, like a pretend court, specifically to say that there's genocide. And the court said there's genocide. Ooh, gotcha. There's genocide now.
In Xinjiang, China sanctioned a U.S. research firm and 2 individuals over a report about the human rights violations in Xinjiang.
Well, I mean, if a US research firm and 2 individuals said in the report that there's human rights violations in a US enemy nation, I guess that's true, right? Is that the argument here? Like, you notice there's no analysis of the facts. It's just presenting headlines and reading them as if they're self-evidently true, as if there's nothing to doubt here.
It's the tourism hour.
Like, Ethan Klein's research, like level of research ability, is to Google thing I already believe and click on the first link and then present that to you as if it's like epigonage.
To China's fury, UN accuses Beijing of Uyghur rights abuses.
Tourism hour.
Uyghur.
The UN report was the only one of these things that is actually presenting here that it was actually at least somewhat grounded in truth. And the UN report did not accuse them of genocide, nothing close. It accused them of human rights violations in terms of limited amounts of arbitrary imprisonments and stuff like that. But he doesn't actually show the report, he just shows the headline. Like, human rights abuse can be a lot of things. Human rights abuse can be like one prisoner being kept in solitary for too long, all the way up to like genociding 5 million people, okay? That's a huge spectrum. Okay, UN report that there are human rights violations in China. The UN also reports that there's human rights violations in like most countries in the world. So that alone means very little. You need to analyze what they're actually saying. He doesn't do that, he just presents a headline. Uyghur County in China has highest prison rate in the world. So one single Uyghur County, I mean, okay, Does that prove genocide? That one single county in Xinjiang has the highest incarceration rate in the world, according to the AP. I'm willing to take that at face value. What does that prove there's genocide? How exactly? For all we know, maybe there's like 1,000 people there. Not exactly broadly indicative of genocide, of there being death camps and organ harvesting. The goalposts have shifted here from Ethan Klein stating there are death camps and you can go to China and buy a Uyghur, like specifically a Uyghur spleen or something if you want one. We've shifted from that into like this one specific Uyghur county has high incarceration rates. We're not even on the same planet anymore from the original claim.
County in China has the highest prison rate in the world. 1 in 25 people is in a Chinese prison.
It's the tour.
County, one county. Do you know what that means? I'm pretty sure that Ethan Klein doesn't actually understand what this means. I think that he read Uyghur County and he thinks that it's about all of Xinjiang when it's about a specific county in Xinjiang. As you can see in the text down here, it might be too small, so I'll read it. Nearly 1 in 25 people in a county in the Uyghur heartland of China has been sentenced to prison. It's a specific county, but I guarantee you, Ethan Klein does not actually read articles and doesn't even know how to comprehend a headline, and he misread this as being 1 in 25 people in all of Xinjiang, which is not the case.
Tourism hour.
48 Uyghurs detained in Thailand for almost 11 years are on hunger strike to protest their imminent deportation to China, where they
48 Uyghurs in Thailand are hunger striking to protest Thailand deporting them to China. What exactly about this is specific evidence of there being genocide in China? Like, you would think that death camps and organ harvesting, there would be a lot of evidence for that rather than just something like so far removed like this. Like,
they face imprisonment or execution.
Not only
they claim they face imprisonment and execution. That may be true. It may be false. You're not presenting any evidence of this, are you? Where's the evidence? You know, refugees lie sometimes. Refugees who don't want to be deported or are facing deportation, they will say, you can't deport me for this or that reason. It may be true, it may be false, but you can't take this shit at face value. You know, if you want to show us that Uyghurs are being killed in Xinjiang, why don't you show us evidence of Uyghurs being killed in Xinjiang rather than refugees from another country attempting to avoid deportation, claim that they would be killed if they were deported. We need actual evidence here. You haven't provided anything that even remotely approximates the original claim.
does this AP article seem not to exist.
These are just random pictures. Like, these are pictures of prisoners. Like, you can find pictures of prisoner roundups like anywhere. Damn. What exactly about this specific picture is proof of your claims here? There's like a random picture of a prison facility with text on it that makes a specific claim about what that facility is for. A random picture with a text subtitle. Urumqi internment camp number 3. How do we know that this is what you're saying that it is? It's an internment camp? It looks like a regular prison to me. What about this makes it an internment camp? Where's the evidence of that claim? This is something that these people do a lot, by the way, is they just present like random pictures of buildings in China, and they tell you this in this building this thing happens, and they provide no evidence for it.
The articles seem not to exist. Reading the AP proved exactly the opposite.
Reading the AP, how does anything that you just proved exactly the opposite? Okay, I'm gonna find this article in 3 seconds. Okay, watch how easy this is to find. Xinjiang AP News tourism. First result, Ethan Klein. The first fucking result for Xinjiang AP News tourism is the article that Hasan was talking about. Not only does this article not seem to exist, but the AP, according to him, actually reports the opposite. This is original AP reporting. Xinjiang eases its grip, but fear remains. Tourism. That's why Hasan uses the word tourism. It's in the fucking title, because tourism has returned there. It says here, the razor wire that once ringed the public buildings in China's far northwestern Xinjiang region is nearly all gone. Basically, it's an article about how the repression in Xinjiang has largely ceased. And it's from 3 years ago, 4 years ago almost already. And Ethan Klein is here talking about Uyghur death camps and organ harvesting. So the article that Hasan mentioned is right there. And the articles that Ethan went over that, according to him, prove the opposite of what Hasan was saying, do not even remotely approximate doing that. Most of them are just the AP reporting on what other people have said. Ethan does not go into analyzing the evidence or anything. He's just like, look, this made-up court that anti-China group made said there's genocide in Xinjiang. Whoa, dude! Great! Why didn't you type Xinjiang AP News tourism into fucking Google? Like the first evidence-based attempt to justify something based on the evidence that Ethan Klein makes in the entire video. And it's him somehow not finding the article. It's him fumbling completely at basic research.
Hasan has happily eaten up the Chinese propaganda on this and has regurgitated
How?
it to his mainstream audience. Why is he defending China's genocide of their Muslim population?
When have you demonstrated there is a genocide of their Muslim population? You've done nothing. Nothing that even remotely approximates that. You made an insane claim of there being death camps and organ harvesting, and then retreated from that to just human rights abuses, which can be a massive spectrum of different things, but which aren't specifically genocide at all. Where is the evidence of your claims? You do not prove a single fucking thing here. If anything, you just completely fail to do basic research in encountering the fucking article that he was actually talking about.
How does this...
Which again is from 3 years ago. Like, this shit is practically ancient at this point. Like, the claims of Uyghur genocide are from like 2017, 2018, 2019. The system of repression has been largely dismantled since then. It was largely dismantled already 3 years ago. And you're still talking about this, not just if it's currently happening, but as if there's literal death camps. Like, death camps, you have to understand, it's a very specific thing. Death camps is a term that only really applies to 6 German camps. I think it was 4 or 6, one of those two numbers, in World War II, where they killed Romani and Jews and some other people as well. Camps specifically built to kill people. And he's claiming there's like analogies of like the Auschwitz death camp in China. An utterly insane claim, which he's done nothing to prove, not even close. And we're just supposed to accept Hasan is bad for saying that that's not true. Like, give me a fucking break, dude.
even makes sense? It only makes sense if A, he's being paid, or B, he has the political complexities of a 5-year-old. I know.
Yo, oh, the fucking irony is crazy.
America bad is a meme that people laugh.
You have literally done nothing to prove the evidence, to show any evidence of your claims. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Your claims here are, there is a genocide in Xinjiang. I'm not going to provide any evidence of that. There's death camps there. I'm not going to provide any evidence of that. This guy said there's not. I'm going to appeal to the preconceived beliefs of my dumb fucking audience, who will automatically believe that this is true, even though not me nor them can provide any evidence of it. And you are the dumbest fucker in the world.
That online. But with Hasan, this does actually seem to be the beginning and the end of his analysis.
Two principles.
I think the analysis is based on the facts in this case, because there's no facts to support what you're claiming.
Let me explain to you two principles that you should keep with you, coming from a person who's Turkish, okay? When you look at a situation in the Middle East, you look at what the local government is and who the Western forces are. Never align with the Western forces. So when I look at other
What situation would this be incorrect?
countries, I look at the regional actor, whoever the regional power player is, and then I look at who is backed by the Western superpowers. That's a principle that you could take home with you. If you want to actually be moral, or if you want to be smart about the way you analyze other countries.
So you would expect like this clip, like he plays this clip, and then you would expect there to be some sort of refutation of it afterwards. Like, okay, here's one or two examples where this doesn't apply to illustrate why Hasan is wrong here. I guarantee you what's actually going to happen is he's just going to play this and then move on to something completely different without actually refuting it.
That's one basic principle that you can take home with you. All of a sudden, magically, you are above on your foreign policy analysis. You're going to be better off than 90% of people that look at the situation.
After seeing all of this, I was already getting uncomfortable with our partnership.
I started to wonder if I had any idea who this guy actually is.
And then this happened.
We have breaking news out of Israel this morning where Hamas...
This happened. We did genocide. By the way, his wife's a terrorist. Just want to remind you all of that. Ethan Klein is married to Hitler Klein, who is a terrorist. Anyway, so I will deal with most of the rest of this when I do actually make a long response to every single word that he says, aside from the Hasan Piker drama parts, because I don't care about the honor of Hasan Piker. But there is one part in this regarding the Houthis, which is just blatant in his level of critical thinking skills, his level of research, that is just obviously search bad. Like he went to Google and he searched bad thing Houthis. He did this. Ethan Klein tried to justify him being against an anti-genocide blockade being carried out by the Yemeni government on the basis that the ships that they are attacking are unlinked to the genocide. Now, we all know that every single Western country supports genocide in Gaza. Hence, what the Houthis did was they blockaded the shipping of all Western countries and Israel, obviously, in order to put pressure on them to make them stop Israel doing the genocide. And this is Ethan's like debunking of that. He picks out one ship and tells us that this ship was not linked to Israel nor to any Western country. Let's check it out.
Let's review his claims. His first claim is that the boat is headed for Israel. It's not. It's going from Turkey to India. Next claim is that it's owned by an Israeli company. It's not. It's being chartered by a Japanese company, and the boat's owners are registered in the Isle of Man. I'd like to remind everybody.
The owners are registered in the Isle of Man. The ship. Oh my God, he's one of those guys who thinks that like a ship's flag is indicative of where it's from, rather than like for taxation purposes and shit like that. So let's go back over what he just said. Let's look at the Wikipedia
Genocide
page.
in Gaza.
So let's review his claims. His first claim is that the boat is headed for Israel. It's not. It's going from Turkey to India. Next claim is that it's...
So the ship is owned by Galaxy Maritime Limited. The owners are Abraham Ungar and Yael Ungar. Who is Abraham Ungar? Abraham Ungar is an Israeli businessman. Who is Yael Ungar? Yael Ungar is the wife of Abraham Ungar, okay? They're both Israeli. So, like, he genuinely shows something on the screen that debunks his own claim. This ship is owned by Israelis. Like, do you think the Houthis don't know this stuff? They are looking this shit up as they go. They know precisely who owns these ships. They know precisely where they're going. Everything. Obviously. They knew this ship was owned by an Israeli. If it was legitimately a Japanese flagged and owned ship, they very likely would not have stopped it. But they knew that it was owned by Israelis and thus they stopped it. Very simple. It's owned by a company that is registered for tax purposes in the Isle of Man. Like, do you really believe that these people are from the Isle of Man, Ethan? Are you that fucking dumb? Like, do you think the Bahamas is actually the real headquarters of like multiple billion-dollar companies? It has a population of like, what, 500,000? Something like that? Ethan Klein, are you okay? Do you need some basic logic lessons here? So yeah, obviously this is an Israeli-owned ship. And this is just demonstrative of Ethan Klein's brain power, that he shows you something on the screen that debunks him. Right there. It's owned by Israelis. It's an Israeli company that is headquartered in the Isle of Man for tax purposes. Anyway, so let's go over two more claims that he makes in here that I think greatly demonstrate his brain power. So Ethan's fantastic brain. You know, he went and typed in Google, bad things Houthis. Tell me bad things Houthis do now. And he found an article. What did the article say? Let's find out.
Most fun one. They brought back slavery.
We think the Houthis, Ansar Allah, is doing what...
Okay, so the Houthis brought back slavery. Source, a headline, and another headline. Let's check this out. Exclusive. Houthis restore slavery in Yemen. The source for this is Ashaq al-Awsat. What is Ashaq al-Awsat? Let's find out. This is a paper that was founded with the approval of the Saudi royal family and government ministers, run by a company called the Saudi Research and Marketing Group, which is noted for its support of the Saudi government. The newspaper is owned by Faisal bin Salman bin blah blah blah, a member of the Saudi royal family. So you might already know this, but Yemen has been under attack by the Saudis for more than a decade. The Houthis are the enemies of the Saudi intervention in Yemen. The Saudis have massacred something around 500,000 people in what accurately can be described as a genocide. Ethan Klein is citing Saudi state Goebbels propaganda to claim the Houthis restored slavery. But hey, you know, who knows? Maybe this Saudi propaganda is actually based on something concrete. Let's check out the sources. Sources close to the group told us. Sources close to the group told us. You know, we swear, trust us. They definitely told us. Yeah, they told us, you know, this Saudi royal family-owned newspaper was told 100%. Several local reports have also confirmed this. Just some local reports. Yemeni activists have definitely said this. They told us. We can't even name one of them, but they told us. A civilian even said this. Experts confirmed. A US State Department report said. It's just like this guy who he made up said so. This other guy who he also made up also said so. This is Ethan Klein's source for the restoration of slavery in Yemen. And the other one is an Al Jazeera report based on this fucking report. Al Jazeera, an agency of the Qatari government, which is generally good if it's within the Qatari government's interest to be good, which, you know, The Qatari government is another Gulf monarchy that participated in the genocide of Yemen and that is very much against the Houthis. Incredible source analysis, Ethan Klein. Incredible brain. What else did he say about them? Okay, I'll tell you. Let's check this incredible epic source analysis from Ethan Klein.
Well, according to this, there's been 1,181 violations committed by Houthi rebels against women.
According to this, according to what? A headline and a random picture with zero context whatsoever. Let's find this headline. So, what is this? According to this, what is this? This is a report only reported on in this specific outlet, Anadolu Ajansi, which is the state broadcaster of Turkey. Now, you might not know this, but Turkey is also one of the countries that participated in the anti-Houthi coalition in Yemen. 1,000 violations, whatever that means. What does a violation mean? Human rights group. What human rights group? What are the violations? Quoting testimonies. So we have testimonies. People saying that something happened to them. And we have reports. So there are two groups cited in here who participated in these reports. One of them has a website, the Coalition of Women for Peace in Yemen. Now, it's very interesting to have a website that is a coalition of women for peace in Yemen that's entirely in English and that says that it's for peace in Yemen, and yet it outright says here, our aim is to free women who have been arbitrarily detained by the Houthis. Now, you would think that an organization like this, that is for peace in Yemen, would document and be against abuses done by everyone, not just by one specific group. That's kind of weird, right? There are a lot of really biased human rights organizations in Syria, for example, but they at least pretend to document and be against abuses done by everyone. Now, it might not surprise you to find that this organization was founded by someone, Noura al-Jawi, who defected from the rebels to the Saudi-backed government, and then immediately founded this organization. And now this organization is presented as a massive representative organization of women in Yemen, when in reality, while it is not at all transparent about its funding sources, it's just a propaganda front for the Saudi-backed former Yemeni government, which is obviously why they specifically talk about the Houthis and only the Houthis. And you click the film, Detained Under the Houthis. 3 brave women have decided to speak out on film against their persecutors. Source, we said so. And they have a trailer. Now, there's no evidence here. There's basically nothing here at all. It's this group, founded by a woman who explicitly defected to the Saudi-backed government under very weird circumstances, founded a group to claim that the Houthis mass rape women. The most generic propaganda ever. And this is what that article in the Turkish government state media outlet is citing, basically. That group and 1 or 2 others that are essentially the same thing. This is not at all a reliable source. It presents basically zero evidence. It's obviously ridiculously overproduced and all in English. It's specifically made for an English language audience, and Ethan Klein does not question why any of this is the case. Detained by the Houthis. I said so. I could make it, Ethan Klein. If this, let me give you a little bit of perspective, okay? I could make a 60-second long video about this with a couple of actors who all accuse you of horrible crimes, called Detained by Ethan Klein, Locked in the Basement, or something like that. I could do that tomorrow. It would cost me $200. I could put it to terrible music and buy some stock footage of prison cells and stuff like that. Would that be evidence of you holding 1,000 women or whatever in your basement, Ethan Klein? Ethan Klein, have you ever considered being a bit critical of your sources? Ethan Klein, have you ever considered thinking? Have you ever considered engaging in critical analysis? It's just headline, 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 headline. Saudi government said so. Turkish government said so. Well, I'm convinced. So Ethan has not even remotely substantiated his claims. I just wanted to go over some of the most egregious ones that I saw here in a little short thing. Maybe later, I'm not promising anything, but maybe later I'll go over the whole thing all at once, but that will be 6 fucking hours sitting there and then editing it down to a digestible thing. It's not a very fun prospect, but I might do it. Just because, it's a lot of pain, but there is a lot of gain, a monetary gain. It's just it's just frustrating because I don't want to reiterate the same things over and over again. I've already responded to the shit that he's saying here. Ethan Klein is not a sentient being. He does not adapt his arguments. He does not change when counter-arguments are presented. He just keeps repeating what he was saying beforehand and relies on his audience being too dumb to seek out the already existing counter-arguments. I made multiple videos refuting his bullshit months ago, and he's still repeating it the same as if nothing ever happened. And I don't want to sit here all day just retreading the exact same ground I've already retread 1,000 times before. Ethan Klein is someone who needs to be confronted live, in real time, in detail, and dismantled point by point on all the claims that he has made, presented with the evidence showing him why he's wrong. The thing is, he will never allow him to be exposed, himself to be exposed to that sort of situation. So all you can really do is to make videos refuting him, but he'll just keep ignoring them, and his audience is too, like, the kind of person who's now trying to appeal to is obviously far too dumb to seek this stuff out. And even if they did find it by accident, they'd be too dumb to digest it, to understand why he's wrong. So it doesn't really matter anyway. So I just wanted to highlight like some of the more egregious examples of Ethan Klein being a 40-year-old with no idea how to do basic research, no idea how to do basic critical analysis, no idea how to do anything except search Google for search terms and then present whatever shows up uncritically. Maybe later I'll deal with the rest of it. Maybe. It's going to take, I'm going to have to sit down with a little bit of cocaine or something to get myself in the mood. Just like Ethan Klein does with the Ozempic.